Okay, now we were discussing how to use external JS file, that is the header. Okay, and then okay, now one paragraph, create a paragraph element, create a paragraph element. Okay, okay, under this paragraph element write something. Okay, by that inside of this, okay, I will explain like this. Okay, try to understand. This is the paragraph element closed with end tag. Now here, suppose a content is here. What is that content? That content to be changed, no? The content is what? Content. This content will be changed. Okay, this content will be changed. Will be changed. Okay, so now try to understand. This content will be changed. This content will be changed to what? This content will be changed to that content which is written inside of a function, and that function is stored as a .js file, JavaScript file. Now that .js file path will be allotted to source attribute. Okay, so this content will be changed to what? I will say, so in the function, whatever the content we have allotted to .inner HTML, which is the attribute of getter method. Okay, and that content will be displayed on your screen whenever we click on that button. This content will be changed. This is the content of your paragraph element. This will be changed to the content which is written inside of a function. Okay, so now come to that. Now, so this element, paragraph element, will be identified by ID. That is very important. That ID is what? Suppose if you have kept the attribute of that ID inside of getter method, so same ID attribute we need to pass here. So that is suppose demo. Okay, understood that. Okay, now by this ID attribute, this paragraph element will be identified. But if you write inside of the header element, ID is equal to demo, so that moment, what do you mean of this? Means if you keep the ID is equal demo attribute inside of your paragraph element, so this paragraph element will be identified. So otherwise, if you keep your ID is equal demo element inside of your header element will be identified, and that content will be changed. Note this point. Okay, now now next word, button to be created. Okay, because whenever we click on that button, then content will be changed, no? So button, how button will be created? Button is equal to, okay, type, button type is equal to button. Okay, so that is what, this is the syntax. As per the syntax we need to follow that. So if there if there is any syntax error, we will find out that and we will correct that. First, but we need to create a structure. Na? One button type is equal to button on click. So event is what? On click event. So I told you that many times in programming what happens, especially in any programming, okay, buttons to be created, especially in JavaScript. Okay, so whenever we click on that button, one event will be driven, one event will be run. So here action is what? On click. That moment what event to be run? That is the code part. So on click, that function to be executed. A function is what? In where in that function content is there. Okay, that is stored, that function is stored as a .js file. So on click, whenever I click that, but function to be called, that function name is equal to my function. Under that function always having this bracket, that is very important. Now okay, so button is what? Button is an element. Button is what? It is an element button is an element. Okay, button type is equal to button on click is equal to my function. Now under then button closed, button to be closed, no? Okay. Now if I want to write any over that button, if anything is to be displayed, if anything is to be displayed on that button, I need to write. Okay, click. Okay, this text will be displayed on that button, this text will be displayed on that button, so that you click here. Okay, this content will be displayed on that button, type is equal to button on click, my function will be called. Okay, my function. Where is that function? Under that function, getter method is there, and inside of that id attribute is there. Okay, and inner html content is there. That content will be displayed in this place of header section content. Header section, because id attribute I have kept inside of header section. So how to use external js, this content will be changed. Okay, now one button is created. Then after source attribute, I told you that source attribute, that is to be allotted for what? For your p element, under this p element. Okay, p element, src is equal source attribute is equal to the file name, your javascript file name. What is that javascript file name? My file name, we need to see where is that file. This is the javascript file. Where is that javascript file? See, As I told you that this is a function created in JavaScript. A function name is my function. So this function to be called, inside of this getter method is there, and I did attribute demo. By this attribute your element HTML element will be found, and the content written inside of inner HTML attribute, this will be displayed. Okay, so keep in your mind my function name is my function. For source attribute, this is the source file name. Where is the source file name? This is the size. So this is the JS file, myScript.js. myScript.js. Okay. We are writing the code here. Okay. Now that is to be kept where? Inside of your script. Script tag. Okay. Source is equal to myScript.js. This is the file path. This is the path. Okay. Now close the script with end tag. Close the script with end tag. Okay, try to understand. Now script element started with script start tag and end with the script close tag. So now this myScript.js file stored somewhere else, its path allotted to source attribute. Okay. Then whenever we click on that button, so that button calls what? My function. That my function is stored in where? In this .js file. Okay. Under that my function, getter method is there. Okay. So now let us see what happened here, whether this code will be executed or we need to do somewhat. But thing is to remind what? You need to keep in mind id attribute id attribute I have given wherever we have given the id attribute, that content will be changed. Okay, now run this code. See how to use external JS file. This is okay, but this content will be changed. That is under the paragraph section, but your id is where? Id is in your header section. So how to use external JS file, that will be changed. So button, but on that button, so button is not being executed properly. Okay, why this button? Okay, we will do somewhat code change here. Button type is equal to button, on click is equal to my function. My function, whenever we want to call this my function, that is to be kept in function, to be kept in double quotation marks. Function to be kept in double quotation marks. in that function time, whatever the name you have kept, same name you need to call. Okay, otherwise you will get error. Understood that? Same name you need to call. On click is equal to my function. Okay, as it is. Now here inside of this, you keep any content whenever we click on that button, this to to aware you, click here. Okay, now let us see what happened here. Now your button is being displayed. Now click here. If you click over this button, the content will be changed. Now content is not being changed. So means what? Where is that error? We need to check back. See, under the script tag, I have assigned the myScript.js is a file. That is the external file I have. External file paths can be given in three ways. I told you that one is the URL address, otherwise file path. Okay, otherwise no path. So this myScript dot, we need to keep this in double quotation mark. Okay, now let us see. Now myScript.js is a file name that is stored with the extension .js within this my function created. Okay, now that is alerted to, this file is alerted to source attribute. Now run this code again. You are getting, now still your code is, that is not being changed.